Good morning, church. Today, I'd like for this video to be a little bit of an experiment. So that's going to mean that you have to take some action today and follow along with this devotional. So that means I want you guys to do what I'm asking you to do, and also then to comment what I'm going to ask you to comment later on. So whether that be on YouTube itself, or if it's on Facebook that you're watching this, I want you to comment with what I'm going to ask you to comment later on. So I want us to look in the book of Hebrews. I had the privilege of teaching from it on Sunday. Some of you were there, so for some of you this is going to be a little bit of a repeat. But for those of you who weren't, here is some of what I taught on. And here is the challenge and the call for us today as God's people. In the book of Hebrews, starting in chapter 3, he starts off by saying therefore, and that therefore is recalling what he was talking about earlier. Basically where he's saying that we have Jesus, who is our great high priest, and who is somebody that empathizes with us, that we can relate to, because he, being God, became human and went through everything that we've gone through, and was tempted just like we're tempted, but yet he was victorious over the temptation. But yet he still gave his life as a ransom for us. And he was the one who was faithful to God as our high priest. And so we seek to be faithful because he was faithful. In fact, that's really what chapters 3 and 4 of Hebrews are all about. You have this author of Hebrews really giving a sermon to his church. Later on in the book, he says that this is a brief exhortation. He says it's a short sermon that I'm writing to you that's 13 chapters long. But he has care and concern for his church, and so he's preaching this message to them. And the message is basically this: to consider Jesus and to really think about who Jesus is, what he has done for you, for us, in that he became human, was tempted in every way like we were, yet he did not sin, and he still was the one that gave his life up for us as a propitiation, which literally is he was a sacrifice to appease an angry God. And he gives this warning that as long as it is called today, seek to be faithful so you can enter into God's rest. There is a rest coming, church. And as long as it is called today, we have the possibility of entering into his rest. In fact, the author of Hebrews would say that we should make every effort to strive after entering into that rest. And he says this in verse 13 of chapter 3. Well, starting in verse 12, he actually says this: "Take care, brothers and sisters, lest there be in any of you an evil, unbelieving heart, leading you to fall away from the living God. But exhort or encourage one another every day, as long as it is called today, that none of you may be hardened by the deceitfulness of sin. For we have come to share in Christ, if indeed we hold our original confidence firm to the end." Basically what he's saying is we belong to Christ, and we can enter into his rest and be a part of his house as long as we remain faithful to him. As long as we remain faithful to the one who was ultimately faithful first. In fact, that's the encouragement that he offers in verse 14 of chapter 4, where he says, "Since then we have a great high priest who has passed through the heavens, Jesus the Son of God. Let us hold fast our confession." Let's hold on to our faithfulness before him. But the one part that I want us to really focus on today is verse 13 of chapter 3, where it says, "But exhort or encourage one another every day, as long as it is called today, so that none of you might be hardened by the deceitfulness of sin." So church, here's the challenge that I want to give to us today, to myself included. Is I want you to think of just one person, just one, And I want you to contact them. Maybe it's just a text message, maybe it's an email, maybe it's a call, maybe it's swinging by their house to say hi. But I want you to find just one person that you could try to encourage to live faithfully to the King today. And then ask them to do the same. Let them know it's because you watch this devotional and you feel like we need to seek to try to encourage each other today. And maybe from there we'll see them doing the same thing. And maybe by the end of today, maybe, just maybe, everybody in our church will have been encouraged today to live for the King. So seek to find just one person today to encourage to live for the King today. Comment who you contacted or who you plan on contacting, and then we'll see how far we can reach out to each other today to encourage one another. I love you, church, and I hope you have a blessed day, and I'm looking forward to the encouragement that you're going to send to other people today. Hope you have a great day. Bye.